Hi there, welcome to Break the Yoke. Thank you for joining me. Just sort of a quick follow-up to the video last night. Um, I did a video about fear, frustrations, and provision, and how we all have fears. We go through frustrating times, and God provides. And He provides through people, He provides through circumstances, and it's just a wonderful thing, and it's encouraging. And don't get me wrong. Please don't think I was complaining or belly aching last night. It was more talking about my fears and just how so many people come along, those that you don't expect to. I'm just going to turn off my car here, and provide through kindness. And it was such a fitting video for the circumstance I'm going to talk about today. Received a Caring Bridge update from some close friends. If you're watching these videos, you probably already know who they are. But so Caring Bridge is a website for people whose loved ones are going through sickness and illness and are in their end of life stage. And it's an online diary where you can keep people up to date with without people asking all the time. And at the end, you can print all of that out and have a diary of your entries. And it's really neat. And I have a couple of friends who are going through this now. And there's one couple who consistently update us. And since we are so far away from them, it's really helpful, and I feel like even though we're not there, we're on top of what's going on, or at least the best that she can describe it. But anyway, this is a close friend, a mentor of mine for many years now, him and his wife. And he was, a little over a year ago, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. It was just before his retirement. He'd been working with the same company for many, many, many years. He was ready to retire, and ever since I've known him, he was talking about all of the things that he had planned that he was going to do when he retired. He had all of these projects, and then just before he retires, he's told you have 6 months at the most to live. Now here he is a year later, which is amazing in itself. But now, over the last few months, he has gotten progressively worse. And him and his wife just keep setting these goals and going for them. And once they complete those goals, they set another goal. And they're not always big goals. Sometimes it's, I want to see the flowers in the spring. And he strives for that. It's the little things in life sometimes. But right now, they are in Israel. And she wrote an update today about her fears of flying and their fears while they're over there as far as his health, and how there have been some people along the way who haven't really been encouraging, but there are a lot of people, some who they don't even know, who have come along and helped them with the little things, and that has taken just enough off of her shoulders, off of their shoulders, so that they can continue pushing on. And it's something as little as helping carry a bag, helping push the wheelchair, stuff along those lines. So, and we all need to remember this in our daily lives as we're going about, especially these days. We seem to be so focused on ourselves. We're focused on these stupid phones, technology, everything like that. And I'm guilty of it too. And I think over the last many years, I became so frustrated and disgruntled with just society and the way people acted. I didn't want to deal with a lot of people. But every once in a while, I still do see somebody who I think needs help and reach out and try to help them. And I need to do it more, especially as a follower of Christ and his teachings. And, it's embarrassing for me to say that I don't help people as much as I want to, or that when I'm doing it, sometimes I have doubts about their legitimacy or their intentions and being suspect of it. And It's not for me to judge. As a human, it's our nature to do that. But as a follower of Christ, as humanitarians, that's not our place. And that's something I need to work on. But back to them. It's just inspiring, and I'm so proud of both of them for overcoming these fears. Even if they didn't overcome them, they controlled them. And it's great. We all have fears, and we're all controlled by fears. I'm guilty of being controlled by the fear of failure. There are so many things I've wanted to do in my life. I'm like, oh no, how embarrassing would it be if I failed? And then I didn't do it. Just tonight, my wife and I were talking about some of the stuff I was talking on the video yesterday, the visas and the bills and excuse me, and everything. And, I felt that fear sneaking back in. I could see the fear in my wife of, what happens if we get stuck? What happens if we can't afford to do this? What happens if we can't afford to do that? And the Bible addresses fear so many times because the Lord knows that fear is what Satan uses to control us. It's so easy. There's fear, there's lust. He really knows how to get into the human heart and twist us around. And unless we have a good relationship with Christ and we really know ourselves through him, we allow ourselves to succumb to that. So what are you afraid of? What are you fearful of? Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of death? I'll tell you, I'm not afraid of death. I've seen a lot of death, but I'm not afraid of it. If anything, I'm afraid of missing my family when I die. But I do my best. I shouldn't say that because I guess it's not entirely true. I strive to do my best in my daily life as a Christian. And I pray that God forgives me for my shortcomings. Even if you're not a believer, you can scrub whatever I just said about biblical teachings. But are you controlled by fear? I just wanted to throw those out there. And again, last night our video was not just about finances. However, if you feel called to, we do still need to raise more finances for our assignment, and anything extra rolls over into the next year. Because again, we only have 1 year's worth of funds, and then we're hoping to continue the assignment. But it's scary. It's one thing if it's just me, but I'm bringing my whole family over there. I think back to the old time missionaries and humanitarian workers who went overseas, who brought their caskets with them. Like they knew when they died, their bodies weren't coming back home. They brought their caskets with them. They loaded any of their belongings that they were going to need. And that's where I'm coming into a problem is there's so many things. I'm like, oh, I'll bring this. It's like, well, I don't need that. And also just because of the work that we'll be doing, the potential for the need for different things. So, we have my wife's bags and we have my bags and our equipment and our daily use stuff and our daughter's stuff. And, then when the baby comes, so it's just, you think back and you're like, wow, you read books about how missionaries got on the airplanes, or even before that, ships. But when they first started using airplanes, they would layer their clothes. So they would just dress up in as many of their clothes as they could. They could put things under their clothes, and then they would pack their other belongings in bags and in their caskets. And that's how they got their belongings over there. So imagine being on an airplane and wearing 4 layers of clothes. But anyway, and speaking of clothes, I think I may have touched on it. If I didn't, there was a video where we were outside and I was talking about military surplus and the draw to that, and the draw to outdoor and hiking equipment with the people that do some of the work that we do. And this jacket is excuse me. So, high pollen count. And I've had this ridiculous cough, and then I ended up with like bronchitis. And anyway, but this jacket, I paid $0 for this jacket. I paid a little bit to repair it. It's Gore-Tex. It's I think German, yeah, German military. I sort of blacked out the flag because I don't need a flag. But anyway, went into a military surplus store when I was traveling, and I was looking at these jackets, and this one is a rain jacket. It's Gore-Tex. It was raining earlier. It stopped now for the time being. So I thought I would give it a shot. But I was looking at it, and I held it up, and I saw all of these tiny little holes in it. And what happened was someone was standing too close to the fire when they were wearing it, and they got all of these little embers on them. And I told the fella at the counter, he's like, oh, well, we're just going to throw it out anyways. So if you buy something else, we'll give this to you for free. So I think normally it's like 40, 50 bucks used. So I got it for $0, and then I used seal seam and a couple of patches to just go through and patch it up. And so far, so good. But yeah, so military surplus, it can be cheap. Hiking equipment is improving, and not always so cheap, but getting cheaper. But yeah, that's why I'm sort of dressed like a tree in my car. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. What are you afraid of? How are you controlling it? Let us know how we can pray for you or help you all. And please continue to pray for us. Again, if you want to support us, everything is in the description below. And thank you. Like, share, subscribe. I know these talks are boring. I've said it many times over. But as we progress forward, as we get overseas, I'm hoping they'll become more interesting. We want to do a little bit about living overseas. We want to do videos about what we're doing over there. And, hopefully more people will be interested. Maybe it will help other people who are interested in missions, humanitarian work, travel. It'll help us get the word out about the situation in Southeast Asia or other places where we go where there are oppressed people. So thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Shalom. We will see you out there. Overcome your fear, control your fear, and we'll see you soon.